And we are still talking about the law of reaping and sowing. There is another person, and let me say fair use, fair use, fair use. There was a particular woman who had decided that she was going to screw around on her husband. Okay? So you have some people that believe in having a home husband and a work husband. Home husband and a work husband. So basically, in a nutshell, she's screwing around with two different men. So remember, we're still talking about the law of reaping and sowing. So this woman had a work husband that she was screwing around on her real husband at home. Husband probably didn't know about it. I'm pretty sure he didn't know about it. So anyway, the woman and the work husband, the guy she was screwing around with on the job, they had been screwing around with each other for a good while. And so what ended up happening was one day she decided she just wanted to go with the work husband and leave the home husband at home and break up with him, divorce him, and get with the work husband. And so this woman and the supposedly work husband had sat down and talked, and they said, hey, the woman said she's going to leave her husband, her home husband, and the guy said that he's going to leave his wife and that they can be together forever. Okay, so they agreed that they were going to leave both of their wives and husbands and they will get together. Well, anyway, the woman went home, and we're still talking about the subject of the law of reaping and sowing, which states, whatsoever man or woman soweth, that shall they also reap. So what ended up happening? The woman went home, told her husband, I'm going to leave you. I don't want to be with you no more. I don't love you no more. And I'm leaving you and I'm divorcing you. So she went home. She told her husband this. She was in the process of divorcing her husband, letting him go. She went back to her work husband on the job and told him that she just went and told the husband that she was done with him, didn't want to be with him no more, and that her and the work husband can be together forever. Well, the work husband told her that he was not going to leave his wife. He was not going to divorce his wife. Now, this woman had just came from telling her husband that she's going to divorce him and that she's going to leave him. And so when she came back to the work husband, she told the work husband said he was not going to leave his wife. He was not going to leave his wife for her. And when she found that out, the woman had a nervous breakdown because she couldn't go back home. She could not go back home because she told her husband that she was going to leave him for this other guy. And basically, in a nutshell, when she found out that the work husband was not going to leave his wife, she had a nervous breakdown. Remember, we're still talking about the subject of the law of reaping and sowing. This action produced this action, okay? So, woman had a nervous breakdown. The man would not leave his wife. She had lost her husband because she just broke it off with her husband. And so now when the woman had a nervous breakdown, every day, wherever she goes, she's spitting all the time. She's spitting. The problem was this. She never should have been screwing around on her husband. She never should have been screwing around on her husband, and she lost her husband. She lost her house. She even lost the guy she was screwing around with on the job. She ended up with nothing. Her life went downhill from her actions because she wasn't supposed to be screwing around on her husband to begin with anyway. And now she didn't reap what she sowed, and she had a nervous breakdown. So you need to keep this in mind. Do not screw around on your husband. If it's at all, but you don't do it, because it is written, whatsoever a man or woman soweth, that shall they also reap. You need to keep this stuff in mind. It is extremely important that you keep this in mind. And I'm telling you, let me tell you another story about what happens. Once again, I'm talking about the law of reaping and sowing. And so, there was a lady who had decided that she was going to screw around on her husband. This woman, she was an African-American woman. She had a good paying job. Her husband had a very good paying job working in the auto industry. They both were making very good money, okay? And so her husband wasn't a bad looking guy. He was up and coming in the company. He was making very, very good money. And so what ended up happening was the wife had ran into this rich guy. This rich guy told her, hey, let's fly to another state and screw around over a weekend. And so I guess this lady decided that she didn't have a husband no more. So what ended up happening was she told the people where she worked at that she had met this guy, which was the rich guy. She was going to fly out. I think she flew out to New York and was going to spend some time with him in the hotel motel. And when she did that, I guess she forgot about her husband. She didn't pick the phone up when her husband was calling to try to find out where she was. She didn't pick the phone up because she was screwing around with the rich guy. Well, anyway, she had a good time. So while she was in New York, the husband called the job Friday. Husband called the job Friday, say, hey, let me speak to my wife. The ladies on the job said she's on vacation. He's like, what do you mean she's on vacation? She didn't tell me she was on vacation. The ladies on the job said, oh yeah, she's supposed to be flying out to New York. He said, what do you mean she's supposed to be flying out to New York? And I don't even know if she's on vacation. She said, well, she's on vacation. She's flying out to New York, and don't tell nobody that I told you this, but she flew out with this rich guy. And she said she will be back in town Monday morning. So that whole weekend, the husband was calling his wife to see where she was at. She would not pick up the phone. What are we talking about? We're still talking about the law of reaping and sowing. Whatsoever a man or woman soweth, that shall they also reap. Whatsoever a man or woman soweth, that shall they also reap. So she decides she's going to go out of town without notifying her husband. She's going to go screw around with this rich guy in New York. And so anyway, she got back in town Monday morning. She went to work. Remember, we're talking about the law of reaping and sowing. Sometimes a person will reap what they have sown quickly. Sometimes it will take months before it comes back. Sometimes it will take years before it comes back to the person. All right. So anyway, the woman came back in town from the airport, went back to work. She came right back into work. The Human Resources Department called her and said, would you please step in the office, please? And so she was like, okay. She goes into the office. The people in the Human Resources office tell her, did you fly out to New York with this particular rich guy? She was like, well, yeah, I flew out to New York because she said, it's been reported that you flew out to New York to spend time with one of the customers. So when she sat up and told the people in HR that she did fly out to New York to spend time with one of the customers for the weekend, they notified her that she was fired. Once again, they notified her that she was fired because she was not supposed to be going out with any of the customers. Now, not only did she get fired for her job, because all the women on her job told HR and told the woman's husband that she was on vacation. She flew out for a weekend with this rich guy when they were in New York. You know, the guy screwed around with her every which way. And then when she come back in town, she thought everything was going to be great. Well, she started reaping what she sowed immediately by screwing around on her husband. She lost her job. When she went home to her husband, the husband asked her, "Where were you?" She probably came up with some lie. And he probably told her, "Your co-workers told me where you were at, that you had flew out, that you were on vacation, and you flew out with some rich guy to New York. So I can pretty much assume that in the hotel or motel that you were at with the rich guy, he probably screwed around with you every which way." So basically, in a nutshell, she not only lost her job, she lost her husband. She had to leave the house. Not only did she have to leave the house and lost her job, she also had to leave the state, because everybody in the company that she worked at, everyone in the company found out about what she had did. She could no longer work with the company anymore. Did you hear what I'm saying? Could not work for the company anymore. Though it was so bad that everybody found out about it. Everybody found out about what she did behind her husband's back. It was so bad that the woman literally had to leave the state to go somewhere where nobody knew who she was. So once again, we are talking about the law of reaping and sowing. You have to keep in mind that whatever evil that you do to other people, the evil will come right back to you. Also, to whatever good that you do to other people, good will come back to you. And you can keep yourself out of a whole lot of trouble by just treating people the way that you want to be treated. Do not mistreat anybody, because if you mistreat other people, you will be mistreated, and you don't know how it's going to come back to you. It could come back to you in terms of health problems. It can come back to you in terms of financial problems. It can come back to you in terms of all hell breaking loose in any and all and every area of your life. So, once again, it's extremely important for you to learn this lesson. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Make sure that you share this with other people and let them know about this. So please like, please share, please subscribe, please hit the notification bell, and peace.